Fever time! Bow, bow, bow!
There we go! There we go!
We crushed them in fast break points 17-8. Right, we crushed them in second chance points 20-11. Wait, all of those things, y'all.
The Seattle Storm thought they could bully Caitlin Clark again, but they were dead wrong. In their first matchup of the 2025 season, the Indiana Fever came in with unfinished business after that disgraceful body check from Skylar. Diggins back. In August 2020, during their final meeting of last season, many expected Clark to lead the charge, but in a surprising twist, she struggled, managing just 6 points on her worst shooting night of the season. What no one saw coming, however, was the way her teammates rose to the occasion. Aliyah Boston, Lexie Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell stepped up like absolute warriors, delivering a historic performance and dominating the Storm in a game that felt more like payback than just another win. This wasn't just about basketball, it was about redemption. If you're riding with the Fever, drop a comment below saying, "I've got the Fever, let's go."
After the last 2 games against the Valkyrie, after the last game against the Las Vegas Aces, a question many of us had was, who's going to step up on this Indiana Fever team when Caitlin Clark doesn't have it, when the shot's not falling? If she's not able to carry this team, who's willing to step up and show up when it matters the most, when it's time to buckle down and get this team a victory? Folks, after the last 2 games, I just wanted a win tonight.
Picture this. It's August 18, 2024, and Caitlin Clark is on the verge of facing one of the most controversial moments of her rookie season. The Indiana Fever walked into their game against the Seattle Storm with high hopes and momentum. Their side, Clark was on fire, pushing to notch double-digit assists for the 3rd consecutive game. While Lexie Hull was having a career night, the Fever were dominating, blowing out the Storm in their own arena. But just when everything seemed to be going right, nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Then it happened. Skylar Diggins delivered a body check to Caitlin Clark that left fans absolutely furious. In the closing minutes of the game, Clark was trying to fire up the home crowd when Diggins, while walking off the court, made deliberate contact with her. The replay made it clear what had occurred, sparking an immediate firestorm on social media. Outrage spread like wildfire, with many calling it a blatant and intentional act of targeting.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle. Now, was that jail? No. Would it be a fight in the NBA? Yes. What I don't get is the Seattle coach here is the one complaining after the game, and Skylar, tears in her eyes, being like, "How dare Caitlin embarrass me? How dare they beat us by 30?
The reaction was nothing short of explosive. Dave Portnoy's post about the incident racked up over 250,000 views in just the first 20 minutes, showing how quickly the moment went viral. While fans were somewhat divided, the majority saw the incident for what it was, an intentional cheap shot. Caitlin Clark handled the situation with grace and composure, but the frustration was written all over her teammates' faces. The tension was undeniable, and the Fever knew this wasn't something they'd forget.
Ladies, grow up. They didn't take their starters out in time. What are you talking about? And here's what I love. You think Caitlin's going to back down because they're crying? Like, how can a rookie embarrass us? What do they keep beating us up like this? How is he so good? No, Caitlin doesn't back down at all. She's like, "Hey, zip it, Skylar. Shut up. Stop crying." She literally mouths, "Stop crying." I'm not sure if it's in this video.
The Storm players acted like nothing had happened, just walked away, as if they hadn't body checked the league's biggest rising star. That nonchalant reaction only made things worse for Fever fans. Watching at home, many began to suspect that the Storm were intentionally trying to stop Clark from reaching her assist milestone. From that moment on, the entire game took on a heavier, more emotional tone. It became a turning point not just for Clark, but for how the league and its fans viewed Seattle's tactics. The incident fueled a growing narrative that the storm of bullies targeting the league's brightest young talent. That perception stuck, largely because of how blatant the contact appeared and how casually Seattle brushed it off afterward. RD.
This league doesn't know what to do with Caitlin Clark. They don't know what to do with the Indiana Fever. It's not just her, Aliyah Boston, Mitchell, Hull. This team is coming together and Caitlin Clark is loving it. She's laughing at you, Skylar. Imagine that you bump her and then you have the audacity to complain about them. Just play ball. You didn't hear Indiana crying when they started off 1-9. They just got up off the mat and started. That's assault!
What nobody realized at the time was that this moment would ignite a fire within the Fever that burned for nearly a full year. Caitlin Clark remembered. Her teammates remembered. The coaching staff remembered. They were all waiting patiently for their chance to show Seattle that those tactics wouldn't work anymore. Since that night in August, the Fever had matured, both mentally and physically. Fast forward to June 24. 2025, the long-awaited rematch, and the Fever were finally ready to fight back. But what made this revenge game even more remarkable was that Caitlin Clark picked the worst possible time to have her worst shooting performance of the season. She had been lights out all year, but from the very first shot, something was off. You could see it in her mechanics, the rhythm was gone, and the shots weren't even close.
Mark behind the back. It goes right to the window on Wheeler. Excellent. It's up the 3-ball by Dantas, and looky here, looky here.
Clark went just 3-4-13 from the field and missed all 6 of her 3-point attempts numbers. That would normally spell disaster for Indiana. Coming into this 3-game West Coast road trip, she had been averaging 19.8 points per game. But now, with only minutes left in the fourth quarter, she was stuck at just 6 points. It was her lowest scoring performance of the season, and the timing couldn't have been worse. The Seattle crowd sensed blood and grew louder with every missed shot. They thought they had her wrapped, just like in the previous year. Every time, Clark pulled up for a 3 and it clanked off the rim. The cheers grew. The fans were doing everything they could to get inside her head, trying to recreate the pressure of that August nightmare.
Beautiful feed to Aliyah Boston. Just Mitchell goes right in at Ezzy Magmador and scores. Oh, Aliyah Boston, a 30-pack tonight. She stay on fire, she does.
But here's where the story takes a beautiful turn. While Clark struggled, the teammates were quietly preparing to make history. This wasn't the same Fever team that got pushed around last season. These players had spent the year watching Clark carry the weight, and now it was their moment to rise. Aliyah Boston led the charge, igniting in a way fans hadn't seen before. She attacked the rim with purpose and power, each drive more forceful than the last. Boston wasn't just putting up points, she was making bold statements with every basket. Her intensity overwhelmed the Storm defense, and they had no answer for her.
Hook pass Aliyah Boston. Gabby closes out on her, now spins on Ezzy. Nicely done, and Boston scores. She's
8 points allowed on their home floor.
And again, Aliyah Boston just straight line drive.
Lexie Hull was playing with relentless energy, crashing the balls like her life depended on it. Despite being outside, she pulled down rebounds over much taller Storm players, refusing to be outworked. Hull was everywhere flying around, caught, diving for loose balls, and doing all the gritty, unglamorous work that rarely makes the highlight reels, but is essential to winning games. Her hustle and heart became the spark the Fever needed in Clark's off night.
Offense, not a lot of weak side help after she went behind the back.
Biggest lead of the game for Indiana. They can add to it here on the turnover. Wheeler the only one back. 3-on-1. And Lexie Hull lays it up and in. Coming around is Mitchell. She was public enemy number 1 on the outside for Indiana in the first. Here's Hull, wide open look and strike it.
Yeah, good offense.
Indiana's offense began clicking, exploiting Seattle's weak side defense. And after a slick behind the back move, the Fever took their biggest lead of the game. They quickly added to it off a turnover, turning defense into offense as Wheeler led a fast break and Lexie Hull finished with an easy layup. Kelsey Mitchell, who had been targeted heavily early on, started heating up from deep. Hull found herself wide open on the wing and knocked down a clean jumper, continuing Indiana's offensive surge. Meanwhile, Mitchell found her rhythm from beyond the arc, draining shots that would later be etched into the WNBA record books. She stepped into those high-pressure moments with confidence, delivering when the Fever needed scoring the most. Her swagger grew with every made three-pointer. On what was Clark's worst night of the season, her teammates turned it into a statement game. Rather than collapsing without their star, the Fever rallied, proving they were no longer a one-woman show. Boston, Hull, and Mitchell each rose to the occasion, delivering career performances and showing that the real magic of this team was just beginning.
Indiana trying to end this road trip on a victory and get to 500 on the season. Seattle trying to win game number 7 out of 8. Oh, beautiful feed by Donta, sealing it off for Cunningham on the push. Here's Mitchell, hit one from this exact spot and hits another one. Kelsey Mitchell.
The next one's from mid-range are going down.
She is shooting 55% from the field.
Oh, boy.
What happened next was the kind of basketball magic that gives you chills 3 Fever players. Decided to have career nights on the same evening. Aliyah Boston started attacking Seattle's defense with moves nobody knew she was scoring. From everywhere on the court in the paint from mid-range, even hitting shots from the perimeter. The Storm defenders couldn't figure out how to stop her every time they adjusted. Boston found a new way to score. She was making shots never made before in her career.
All of those things are winning in the margins, right? Winning in the margins. And when it comes down to tough games, when it comes down to gut check games, and this was a gut check back against the wall game for us. But I'm so proud of you guys and the way that you responded.
Boston finished the night with a career-high 31 points, leaving Storm defenders visibly confused and frustrated. Their previous best had been 30 points against Atlanta in September, but this performance felt different. This wasn't just about scoring, it was about stepping up and taking control when the team needed her the most. Boston didn't stop at just putting points on the board. She also grabbed 8 rebounds, handed out 3 assists, and added to steal. She was a force on both ends of the floor, leading by example and showing exactly why she's one of the league's rising stars.
AB career high 31. Point, composure, finishing around the rim, and your 800th career rebound.
There's Boston with it. She'll lay it up and in. And Mitchell will try her hand again and just get down. Boston going right to the rim and scores.
Meanwhile, Lexie Hull was having a breakthrough night of her own, dominating the glass while scoring in double figures. For the first time in her WNBA career, Hull recorded a double-double, something she had never accomplished before. She pulled down 11 rebounds, shattering her previous career high of 9, which she set last season against Minnesota. Hull wasn't intimidated by Seattle's size. Instead, she outworked their bigger players with pure hustle and determination. She was all over the court, snatching rebounds over opponents who were several inches on her and chasing down every loose ball like it was hers by right. Perfect team points with a perfect complement to her relentless rebounding effort. Hull was a constant presence, showing up exactly where the Storm didn't want her